This episode of the What's Happening Delco podcast is brought to you by Delco Meets for Business. Check us out on Meetup, register, and attend one of our fantastic networking meetings, which we meet on the first and third Thursday at the Brick House in Ridley Park, and the second and fourth Thursday at the Upper Crust in Newtown Square. We look forward to seeing you there. What's happening, Delco? I'm Rich Shane, and welcome to the What's Happening Delco podcast. Today, I'm joined by Joey and Johnny Chambers of Chrome Institute of Cosmetology. Johnny and Joey, welcome to the podcast.
What's happening, Rich?
What's up, Rich? How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for joining us today. What is Chrome Institute of Cosmetology?
Chrome Institute of Cosmetology is a cosmetology school located in Newtown Square, Pennsylvania. It's kind of a brainchild of a few schools that I worked at the past, and kind of wanted to open up my own thing. And so we're Pennsylvania's first all inclusive cosmetology school, basically. So we kind of teach every color brand out there and every trend, if you will, to the students, and get them truly chair ready to go out and work in any salon in the area, rather than, salons that only use specific products.
How did the idea for Chrome come to you guys? I mean, what was the whole impetus? I know you said you worked in some other places, but coming together as brothers, how did it all really get started for you? In 2011, I think it was, my wife and I opened up Chrome Salon and Media, and both hairstylists. I was working at a Paul Mitchell school at the time, and the two of us opened up the salon, and I taught at the Paul Mitchell school and worked at our salon at nighttime, and I kind of always wanted my own place. So it kind of came from that. And then in 2018, I left the Paul Mitchell school, and we opened up our second salon in Media, and had that going for a little while. I'm sorry, second salon in Glen Mills, actually, is where we opened up, Chadds Ford area. And then in the tail end of 2018 and 2019, we opened up the school originally in Boothwyn. For both of you, how did you come to the careers that both of you are in?
Go ahead, Johnny.
So I think for me, it's a funny one. So like Johnny said, 2011, we opened the salon. So I'm 21 right now. So I was 10 years old. And I get this, I get the thought that we're going to build a salon. So it was cool for me. I got to go up there every day after school with my dad, my brother, my sister-in-law, and everything that you could think of from start to finish, we did. Ripped out the floors. I mean, there's pictures of me when I was 11 years old and the floor joists, all sorts of stuff. So I kind of knew that I wanted to help him with that. Fast forward to me being in like ninth grade, end of ninth grade, I guess it was 2015. I decided to go to VOTech technical school to get my cosmetology license. Everyone in my friend group laughed at me. They called me crazy. They didn't know what I was going to do, stuff like that. I stopped playing football in 2016 in 10th grade and started to focus more on working. I worked every day once I was in 10th grade after school for the salon for Becky, and while I was in VOTech too, and I started to grow my skills. Around the end of senior year, beginning of senior year, Johnny starts this thing about opening a school. And I liked the idea of it. I always wanted to be on the business side of things, but I wanted to get my license, so I knew what I was talking about. And I asked him one day, I said, "Hey, John," I said, "what would your opinion be about me coming to the school to work with you and do admissions?" And Johnny said, "Well, right now you work at the salon, and, Becky uses you there, and I don't know how it's going to be." And so we talked about it, this, that, we kept thinking about it. And then finally, I guess it was probably about the end of May, beginning of June, when we decided that as soon as I graduated high school, I was going to go on senior week. And when I came back from senior week, my office was going to be waiting for me as the director of admissions for the school. I've been doing it ever since.
Yeah,
pretty cool. It was pretty cool to watch him do it. He kind of truly, if you will, Rich, he has done everything and anything that somebody could be expected to do in this industry, from sweeping hair to shampooing to being behind a chair cutting hair to help managing the salon, inventory, this, that, and the other. And he truly, honestly worked his way up. Never really got a single thing handed to him. You know, my story is a little different. It's a little funnier, if you will. But, you know, I became a cosmetologist. I was actually right out of high school, worked for the family business in HVAC. He was a union sheet metal worker. And after September 11th happened, the building trades really weren't the same in Philadelphia at the time. And I got married as a young man. I was only 23 years old, had a house in media. And, you know, my dad couldn't keep us working just to stand there. So at nighttime, I would go up and watch my wife cut hair. She worked at the local Supercuts. And I said, you know, I think I could probably do that, you know, with the angles and stuff like that. And I mean, talk about one extreme to the other. I went from welding and doing duct work to cutting people's hair, and went to Venus and learned how to cut hair, and then went back and learned how to be a teacher and taught there for a little bit. And the rest is history.
You talked about Chrome being an inclusive studio for learning. You talked about a little bit that you are not beholden to one product or another. What can people expect when they enroll with Chrome Institute of Cosmetology?
So I'll let Joe talk about the enrollment process, but before he talks about that, what they can expect as far as out of the school goes is a true family business. A lot of the cosmetology schools that are in the area are corporately owned or franchised from a big company such as Paul Mitchell or Redken or Goldwell in our industry. I own 100% of the business. So we choose what products we get to come in. That's why we bring all of them in. And we've had great success because now a lot of the cosmetology salons in the area, knock on wood, are hiring, you know, people, you know, exclusively from our school because they truly know that they're chair ready. So they can expect that. They're not going to be just a number, if you will. There's a face to everybody's name. But as far as what they can expect enrolling goes, I think, I mean, that's Joe's wheelhouse there. So
if a student decides, you know, you're online, you're talking to your friend, you're on TikTok, whatever it may be, you want to be a cosmetologist, an esthetician, and you look up schools in the area and you come across Chrome. First thing that happens is students submit some sort of application, some sort of thing for more information. That comes to me. And the first thing that they can kind of expect is me reaching out to them personally, one-on-one, right from my cell phone. I don't send people emails. I don't call them. I send them a text and I say, hey, this is who I am. I'd like to discuss if you have any questions regarding the school. Keep it very one-on-one. Should they decide they want to move forward and tour the facility, when they come out, everything is first class. At least we try our best to make it that. So when they arrive to our building, you'll see that our building is, you know, it's a standalone building. It has its own parking lot. There is plenty of parking for every single student. It's all free. They can come, they park, they come in. When they do come in, they'll come through our security feature doors. It's a 2-door system that has a security reader for each student. Everybody else is buzzed into the building. That way there, we try to keep everybody protected and as safe as possible, even though we're in prestigious Newtown Square. You know, they'll get to meet my mom up front at the front desk, Miss Rita. You know, they'll have a little conversation with her. She'll ask what course they're interested in, stuff like that. And then they'll come see me. We'll tour the school. We'll talk about all the questions they may have and any fears that they may have or anything that they may have questions on or something that's holding them back. We discuss it. And Rich, I'm completely honest. If the student is not the right fit for our program, the school, or the cosmetology field in general, I'll let them know. The last thing I want to do is put someone in a position where they paid to come to school and they don't like what they're doing, or they're not going to get what they paid for, or what they're expected to be paid for. So, we have that conversation, and a lot of students get confused. Maybe they come for cosmetology, but they really want to be an esthetician. Maybe they come for esthetician, but they really want to be a cosmetologist. I explain all of that to them. Should they decide they want to enroll into the school from there, it's game time from day one all the way up until the very end. We're providing the services, doing our hands-on stuff, doing all of our curriculum that we need to do to make sure everyone gets to the end. One of the things that our school does do is we do assist with job placement as well as filing for the state boards. So all of the students, when they hit the ability to schedule the minimum requirements, they get to test early. The teachers will recommend them to come see me when they feel like they're ready to sign up for the state boards. The goal is to have students either scheduled or getting ready to take the test, if not already had it taken, and have a job or at least have a couple interviews lined up before they leave our building. That is the goal. So that way there, from start to finish, we help the student get to where they want to be.
It's really exciting the way you describe it, that this is hey, you're going to get a fully immersive education across the board spectrum of different products. And you, as the Institute, as Chrome, you're aligning them with employers right away. It takes the pressure and some of the anxiety of saying, I've got this education. Now I've got to go out and find somebody that wants my skills. And you're building those relationships with the community. I think that sounds, giving somebody that sense of confidence, right? That immersing themselves in what you're doing and having that there's something waiting for me out there. And whatever I do with what all the teaching is, I've got a good springboard into a career.
Yeah, there's, I would say, truthfully, Rich, that each student has multiple opportunities or multiple offers, if you will, before they graduate, for sure.
You mentioned cosmetology and you mentioned an esthetician.
Yes.
What's the difference between those two?
So I'll answer this one because I get very technical with it. So in the State Board of Cosmetology for Pennsylvania, the highest license is a cosmetology instructor's license or a cosmetology license. The only person that would hold a higher license than a cosmetologist is an instructor. Now, a cosmetologist is licensed to provide hair care services, skin care services, such as waxing, makeup application, facials, braiding services, nail services, pretty much everything beauty. The state gives 3 limited licenses for students who do not want to do the full course or maybe don't have an interest in doing hair services. 1 we offer here, the other 2 we do not. There's esthetician, nail technician, and natural hair braider. Natural hair braider is a simple course. The students are just allowed to braid and put extensions in. Those are for students who maybe they want to do a lot of extensions. They are very into the extension and the natural hair braiding side of things. That's for them. Then you have your nail technician, just manicures and pedicures. No more, no less, just manicures and pedicures. And then you have your esthetician, who is your skincare specialist, your person who specializes in facials, microdermabrasion, electrolyte therapy, makeup application, full body waxing services. So even if someone came to me as a cosmetologist and a cosmetology instructor and said, Joey, I would like you to do a facial for me, I would say, well, here's my friend. She's an esthetician. I would go see her, even though I'm licensed to do it, just like a family doctor would recommend you to a dermatologist for skincare needs. It's the same thing. These estheticians are skincare specialists, and they know more about that whole side of things than the cosmetology. So it really is a preference of what the students want to get, what they want to offer, what the knowledge they want to have is, and where the student's at in their life. For a lot of people, it's different. You could have someone who's 18, they want to get a cosmetology license so they can do everything. You have someone who's maybe just retired from their daytime job, 55. They want to get their esthetician license so that they can go down the beach and take care of their family, their granddaughters, their, whoever it may be, skincare's needs for the summer. We've had it all. So it really depends on the student, the needs, where they want to be, what they want to do, and so on and so forth.
And, we have people that actually, even though, like Joe said, a cosmetologist can do it all, we've had numerous students that have taken both courses because one goes more into depth than the other. And actually an esthetician, can lead into a medical career, if you will, Rich. We have multiple students that graduated that are working for dermatologists, things like that, in medical offices, as the ones that are doing the facials, the extractions, things like that, and so on and so forth. So, that can kind of lead into a different career path other than, the normal cosmetology salon, if you will.
What you shared sounds really fascinating, to know that you've got so much to learn ahead of you. Chrome, how do you come up with the levels that, for the state, the certifications? How does that happen? How does that come about? Because it sounds like there's so much to teach and learn.
Yeah, there really is a lot to teach and learn. Obviously we're regulated by the State Board of Cosmetology. We actually enhance it a little bit. So the state minimum for cosmetology is 1,250 hours. The state minimum for esthetician is 300 hours, but we team up with Dermalogica for our esthetician program, they're just like a monster, if you will, in the industry. So, we chose to team up with them and give an extra 100 hours. It's a little impossible to do it all in the 300 state minimum. And, we're basically governed by the state, if you will. So we follow all, as far as, the different levels, if you will, different things that you have to meet. And then we take it to the next level with it, based off of the needs of both the student, what we feel the student needs to be successful, and what the current trends are in the business.
When you talk about trends, I am sure there's always something being added to the curriculum, and needing to keep up with everything. Are the students able to come back for more stuff? Are there separate little vignette classes or electives that they can take?
100%. So our director of education, Lori, she is very, very, very into all the salons, if you will. She is friends with a lot of the salon owners, knows what's going on, knows these trends. And we always tell our students that education is everything. It doesn't stop here. We give you the foundation. You need to continually educate yourself after here, but we will have continuing education classes that we offer here for current students, that a new trend might be happening, and we extend it to our graduates as well, to come in for free to gain that further education. So the business is constantly evolving all the time. And, that's why it's nice to work with so many different product lines. Like I was telling you, kind of like that inclusive thing, because, one product line might have this new thing that they're coming out with, a new foil placement or a new lightning service or something like that. And we try to stay in that cutting edge, up to date, if you will. And so it's nice because, these product lines, they'll come in and they'll offer these education, classes to not only us, but our students. And sometimes even we can extend them to local salons to come out and get educated as well.
And just to touch one more little thing on that, another thing that helps with all of that is all of us are still very much involved in the industry. So after we all wrap up our days here, if we're daytime employees, or if we have nighttime employees, which we do, once they before they get here, before they start their night at Chrome, they're providing services. And just like us, before, when we finish up, we're providing services. Now, it's not as much as I would like to say I can do. There's a lot that happens with the school, a lot that goes on with making sure that all of the classes run the right way and so on and so forth. But we are still all in the industry. And so with that, having those trends, those new things that come up, it helps a lot when, before it even comes up in the school, you have a client come to you and say, "Hey, Joey, how do I get this to happen onto my head?" And that a picture or whatever it may be. And then you can kind of start to see it start to happen. And boom, the next thing you know, 5 years ago, or, maybe 10 years ago or 20 years ago when perms were real big, oh, shoot, here they come again. They're just a little bit looser this time and they want beach waves, whatever it may be, but it's still the same concept. And so it's funny to watch those kind of come around and, the new trends start to get set and so on and so forth.
Are you open? I mean, all these services sound awesome. And I'm sure that the students need some opportunity to practice. They're not practicing on themselves. Are you open to the public for people to come in and experience some of what you teach?
We are. So the students can come, or the students provide, and public people can come in and get services done for just the cost of materials, right, Rich? So let's say your normal woman's wash, cut, and blow dry in this area, Newtown Square, is $60 to $70. Here in Chrome, it's $15. It's just the cost of materials. So students don't get paid for their services, but they do get the ability to get tipped. Any tips they get, they're more than able to keep. The state has minimums at the times that we can start those hours. It's 300 for cosmetology and 75 for esthetician. The students have to have those minimum hour requirements before they can provide services on the public. But a lot of the times, public people are coming in and they're getting a service done from a cosmetologist or an esthetician who's maybe 1 month away from graduating school. It's being watched by Miss Ev, our director of education, who's been doing hair for over 30 years. And they're paying a fraction of the cost for it. So there is tons of opportunity for the clientele in this area to get a service done at a discounted rate. There's tons of opportunity for the students in this area to have people come in that aren't just their friends or their family members. These are random people that they've never met before. And then the other thing that it does is it allows the public people who want to help that new class of people coming through, those new students, they want to help them get that new edge on them. It's good for them because they get to come in, they get the services done, and then they get to watch. Now, there's another side of it too. I do want to add to that. Sometimes we have some salon owners come in incognito, and they come in, they get a service done. And if they like the service, they're impressed with the student, they're impressed with how everything went, they'll offer the student a job right then and there, sight on scene. A student was offered multiple positions here, assisting, things like that. They never even sat for an interview. Their interview was them doing their blow dry, whatever it was. So to watch that happen too is really cool.
The school really does have a full functioning salon for the public. And it's not just, the traditional, little old ladies that'll come into a cosmetology school and get their roller sets done. This is a full-blown salon in here. Yes, the students are doing it, but you're getting a dermalogic, a facial for $35 here versus over $100 at a salon. You're getting lightning services. You're getting the whole family can come here for a fraction of the price.
Now, both of you've got these full beards, you've got full heads of hair. Do you do straight razor shaves for those that are, bald and not a lot of facial hair too?
Well, I'll put it to you this way. Keep your eye on our website because we got some big things coming.
All right, that's exciting. When do new classes enroll? Is there a point in time where they start, or do you just show up 1 week and get started? How does it work?
So they're all on our website, right? If you go to our website, which is chromeinstitute.net, and you go to programs, once you select the program that you would like or you're interested in, you'll see that there'll be a couple dates. Most of those dates range every 8 weeks. So what I do is I set dates at the beginning of the year for every 8 to 10 weeks, try to avoid vacations, things like that. And we have them set. Hey, these are when these are coming in. And those are convenient times for the levels, like you mentioned, internally that we have, levels 1, 2, and 3 for cosmetology, so on and so forth. Those are good times for new students to join the levels. So, once a student picks a class, that they're interested in, they need to be enrolled by about, I would say, 3 to 2 weeks at the absolute latest before the class starts to ensure everything gets here in enough time and they can start school. But right now we don't have any wait lists, which is a big thing. There's a lot of schools in the area, especially for esthetician, that are running off of wait lists. We have 15,000 square feet here, 4 classrooms, 2 clinical floor areas. We try not to make wait lists a reality for us. We try to expand the school and do what we have to do to continue moving forward. Whereas in a lot of these schools may say, hey, you come and tour in January. Yeah, we can get you started in September. You say you want to go in 4 weeks. There's 9 times out of 10, I could probably get you there. We try not to have the procrastination and things like that. I try to move students in and out so that way they can get started. It's that much sooner that they can get started and working in the industry.
Now, there is one thing that I do want to add to that. We do something called a rolling curriculum here, Rich, which means that every 10 weeks, the curriculum circles around. So it's good for students that want to transfer. We have students that want to transfer from one cosmetology school to another. Things might not be working out. They can't get there anymore. We're closer, something like that, whatever the case may be. Those students can join us pretty much any Monday of the month, because that the curriculum that they may miss at the beginning will circle back around every 10 weeks. So where we do have certain start dates, if somebody needs to get in here right away and start with us, because of a transfer, we can make that happen for them.
That's awesome. And you mentioned chromeinstitute.net. Is there a phone number that they can call if they have a question or just want to talk through some things?
Absolutely. And that number is 484-222-4808. Anything admissions, they can type in 102. They don't even have to listen to the prompts. They'll get right to me. They want to talk to my mom and schedule an appointment up front at the front desk. Just press 0. They'll get to talk to them. And then there's, some prompts and things like that. If they'd like to speak to Lori, the director of education, Johnny, the director of the school, John Sr., the director of operations, any of those positions. Yeah.
And physical location in Newtown Square is located where?
So we're at 1 Campus Boulevard in Newtown Square. We're at the corner of Bishop Hollow Road and Campus Boulevard, right next to the Newtown Square Little League fields. Right in the Campus Boulevard.
Yeah, right at the entrance of the Newtown Square corporate campus.
Okay, I have to ask.
Access us from Bishop Hollow or Westchester Pike. Okay,
I have to ask. You mentioned a whole bunch of family members. Are there any members of your family that you didn't mention that work at Chrome?
At one point, I don't know, we come from a big family. And I worked for my dad when he owned a business. Never thought we would work together again, but it's cool how it all came together. So my mom runs the front desk. My dad runs operations for us. Thought it was a real good fit for him being a previous business owner. My brother runs admissions. My wife and I own the school. My wife is at our salon. I run the school. And then we got 2 other brothers and 2 other sisters that don't per se work for us, but the one is actually in the industry. My sister Carla, she is in the industry.
So you're both from Delco. How do you describe Delco to somebody that doesn't know Delco?
It's the greatest place on earth. Come on. It's literally the greatest place on earth, and there's nothing like it. And I'm born and raised, lived in Springfield until I was 9, media ever since, bought the house next to my wife's parents and out back of where I grew up. It is just a way of life. I'll never leave. I don't know how else to describe it other than just a community of real people. You can have a doctor living next to a construction worker, living next to a lawyer. It's just the greatest place on earth.
I think for me, being born and raised into it, there was 5 other siblings before me. This was the norm. It was Delco. That's where you're from. But there's a reason why you go to the Jersey Shore, you go to Florida, you go to Vegas, you go to this, you go to that. And people go, hey, are you from Delco? It's funny. It is. And me only being 21 years old, I'd like to say that I've done my fair share of traveling throughout the United States, at least a little bit. Some of the states through the East Coast, driven a couple places. Like I said, I've been out to Vegas, Florida. There's no other place I think I would rather eat a Wawa sandwich on a trash can other than Delco. It's the truth. I go to the other places. Listen, there's beautiful places in the world. There is. But when I come back here and I drive down Baltimore Pike or whatever it may be, it's just like, that's home to me. You know, I feel like no other. Even going to Chester County, I love Chester County. You know, I go out there, there's Joey of Thorndale's, Pizza Westchester, all sorts of good places to get food at. I love Delco.
We talk differently, Rich. It is what it is.
All right. We started to get into food a little bit there with you, Joey. If you have a cheesesteak craving, where are you going?
Well, it depends.
It's not going to be in Delco, unfortunately.
It depends how much time I have on my hands. If I can make it down to Angelo's in Philly on 9th Street, I think that they're the best for pizza, for steak. I really do. I think that they are just the way he runs his operation is very similar to how I think that we run things here. I really do. And
family company. I mean, he's just named his business after his boy, and he's the best around, you know. But God, I'll let you tell you where you want to go.
I like his family, all that stuff. I like how he posts on Instagram. I don't know if you follow him, but all his stories all the time. He's always very, we're making this today. We're doing this. We're doing that. So it's very involved. If not, like I said, Pizza Westchester has good pizza. Now, Pizza Westchester and Joey's in Thorndale are kind of connected a little bit. Joey's in Thorndale has really good cheesesteaks. I've been talking with the gentleman at Pizza Westchester, and I think he's going to bring them there. I'm just waiting for it. So either the one or the other. They're kind of a little farther away, but yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think Delco. If I'm going to stay, I mean, Angelo's is where I go. I could cheesesteak, hoagie, pizza, hands down the best. But if I'm going to stay in Delco, I like Jim's for a cheesesteak. You know, in Springfield, Delco Steaks and Broomall, they're real good. Yeah, they're probably my two go-to guys for steaks for sure. Yeah.
Joey, you're the first person that we've had on that really combined all three questions I was going to ask with one answer. So magic to you for knowing all the answers to the questions before I even asked them. But you talked about pizza and you mentioned Angelo's and you mentioned those others. Is there a specific place for you, Johnny or Joey, you want to chime back in there for pizza in Delco that you would make it go to?
Yeah, there's a new guy that just opened up right on the edge of Delco in Glen Mills called Pops. His pizza's ridiculous. I mean, it is. I've had it twice now, and it's phenomenal. You know, white pizza, Italian Delight in Broomall. If it's 10 o'clock at night, we just closed the shop. There's not many people open. We're going Imperial all day long. You know, it's just what we're doing, you know, me and my wife. But favorite pizza in Delco, if I'm going white pizza, I'm going Italian Delight. Anything else, I got, you know, Pops. I mean, listen, Gitano's was the best. It's a shame, you know, I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that they're going to come back. But yeah, those two guys, I mean, there's tons of places, as you know, Rick. I mean, you got Sam's in Havertown and so on and so forth. But, you know, go-to, that they would be our go-to for sure, yeah.
All right. For both of you, the way you talk about restaurants and food, you're making me hungry. So we're going to have to create a whole new podcast. And I know that cosmetology and estheticians and stuff and teaching people, that's your thing. But the way we're doing Joey and Johnny talk food in Delco. That's our new podcast.
We would love that. Yeah,
I love that. You mentioned 10 o'clock at night and you need a convenience store option and you go out. Do you stop in at Wawa or Royal Farms?
Wawa all day long. I mean, the Royal Farms chickens to die for, don't get me wrong, but they weren't around when I was a kid. You know, it was, I mean, even 7-Eleven, you know, wasn't really there. I mean, Wawa was just always there. It was either Wawa or, for me, it was Tiny T's when I was growing up. You know, you get $1.25 hoagie, you know, but yeah, Wawa.
Yeah, I mean, I live in Glen Mills, so unfortunately I don't have a Royal Farms too close to me, but I do have about 5 Wawas within 2 miles.
You have more Wawas where you are in Glen Mills than you probably have. You'll see more Wawas than police officers, EMTs. I mean,
yeah, it's packed out there.
It's crazy there, isn't it?
I love it.
What gets you guys out of bed every morning? What motivates you?
Oh, man. You know, up until 3 years ago, my wife and I had trouble having kids and decided we were going to foster, and we got this little girl.
came to us when she was 5 years old. She's a little special needs girl. She got Down syndrome. And we ended up adopting her when she was like 6 or 7. Yeah, she's 8 now. So she's been adopted just over a year. And her by far, man. I mean, I do everything I can. When I became a dad, it changed my life. So everything that I do, I try to do to leave something for her. And, the beauty part about it is that, I'm 43, right? I'll be 43. Joe's 21. I'll be 22 in 3 weeks. And Joe's actually Selena's godfather. And, I know that, Chrome, where a normal person might, wrap their career up at 55 or 65. I know that I got another 20 years, that Joe can run things after I hang my hat up. And, just the thought of family, that's what gets me up and gets me going in the morning, all day long, family.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, definitely, if I'm not coming into work, it's got to be probably my car. We're big car guys, motorcycle guys, all that. So I have a new Mustang. I work hard for what I have, and I enjoy it. I genuinely do. But the times that I am coming into work, I honestly can say, no matter what it is, no matter what mood I'm in, no matter what I have to do that day, as soon as I walk through the door, I just become a different person. I become the director of admissions for the school, and whatever anybody needs, whether they came here in 2019 before COVID happened, or whether they're a student sitting in a classroom right now, if they need something, I provide it to them. And I think for me, that motivates me a lot, because I would want, like, whether I'm going to the library to buy a book, or whether I'm going to do this or that, whatever it is, I would want someone knowing what they're doing and taking care of me from start to finish. And so I try to do that for other people, so that way there, maybe one day I buy my next car or whatever, maybe I'll get taken care of some way, somehow.
Well, you talk about taking care of people and helping people and serving people. Do you have people that mentor you, that you look up to, that kind of help you on the path of where you're going?
I mean, I definitely think my brother for sure. I watch him do things. I try and learn from it. My dad too, both of them, they own businesses. Johnny owns one now. My dad did own one. So I kind of get to watch how my dad ran things, how Johnny does run things. I try and pick and pieces from everything to kind of maybe make me a portion of both of them. But I think that for sure. And then I think the other thing that really mentors and things like that is all of the salon owners in the industry that are, maybe they're younger than me, maybe they're older than me, just the ones that they give me the respect. They sit, they talk with me. If I have any questions, whatever it may be. And in regard on the other side of things, when they need an employee or something, they hit us up and they get what they are looking for. And so I definitely think that motivates me, and mentor wise for sure.
Yeah. For myself, I started a little later in this business, so my wife mentored me. I watched her cut hair, and my dad, of course, and my grandfather, they were business owners. So I looked to them for advice. Late Rich Falcone from Venus really kind of took me under his wing, if you will. And he was the owner of Venus Beauty Academy, and definitely a mentor of mine. And then, like Joe said, there's a lot of salon owners that, we talk to, we conversate with. Lou DeCola from DeCola Salon is just an amazing business owner. And, I look up to him and what he has done and paved the paths for guys like myself and new guys like Joe that are just coming into business. And, Rich, it's a tight community. We don't compete against each other. Cosmetology schools and salons, it's impossible. I mean, I don't even know the number of people that live in Delaware County, but, it would be impossible for one salon to handle them all, so we have to support each other. And that's, the community is awesome that way. So I think that we all have a lot to learn from all of us, for sure.
You have friends or family coming in from out of town and you want to give them or take them on that Delco experience. Where are you sending them? Where are you taking them?
Oh, gosh. If I want to give them an experience, State Street and Media, I guess, if they want to hang out and show them a good time. Just in Delco, I mean, I'd drive them anywhere, man. I mean, Delco is an experience in itself. I think that I would take, not to mention the whole food thing again, but there's just so many different cuisines that Delco has to offer, and great little hidden gems that are, on the corner of a place. And, I think that, I would tour them from anywhere from Clifton Heights all the way out to Glen Mills. So, yeah, sure.
I definitely think that I would tour them Delco, same thing. But my whole thing, the thing that I love about Delco the most is, or one of the things that I love about Delco the most, is where we actually live on the map. So within 20 minutes, I mean, I know me, I live in Glen Mills, and within 20, 25 minutes, as long as there's no traffic, I'm making it to the stadiums right in Philly.
Yeah.
Within, I would say, 45 minutes to an hour, I'm over the bridge, and I'm maybe 20 minutes away from Sea Points, depending on where I'm going.
King of Prussia, Westchester. I mean, there's a lot of big places. So for me, once they get here, I'm definitely showing them all about Angelo's, the city, all of that. Every time we have someone visit the school that's from, maybe Georgia, Texas, somewhere that they've never even heard of us before, I like to kind of show them what we're all about. But like I said, we really are centralized. You're right.
I mean, a big thing for me is just where we're at and where we can get to. I like all that. I like that. And I like to show them that too, because a lot of people, like I said, they live in an area where, the only thing they have is the great Six Flags adventure. That's it. Whereas in us, we got some stuff. So it's cool.
All right. I'm scrapping the podcast idea now, and we're buying a bus, and Joey and Johnny toured Delco. Yeah. And we're just going to get in on the bus, and we're just going to drive around. And maybe what we'll do is we'll get a cosmetologist there, an esthetician. You can have some services done while we're riding. This could be big. Yeah. And I think we'll have a lot of fun. You guys are awesome. Is there anything that we haven't talked about? Anything you want to share about Chrome or yourselves that you want the listeners to know about?
Yeah, we got some big things coming up. Knock on wood, Rich, we've been able to do everything so far in the school in the 4 years that we've been open. All the students have been self-pay students. Unfortunately, you can't get that financial aid, if you will, the federal financial aid, the FAFSA number, until you get accredited. And that has been a challenging step, if you will, because during the first year and a half that we were open, and then all of a sudden COVID happened, and it shut us down for 7 months, and it delayed everything. And then the government wasn't doing work like they were, and so on and so forth. So we got a big visit coming up on July 11th with our accreditation company. If everything goes well, we go before the board, and then we're accredited. And then we go and we team up with the Department of Education. We get our FAFSA number, and now we can offer student loans and financial aid to students that maybe, that really want to come to our school but can't afford to take it out of their pocket. So that's something huge that I think is going to send the school to the next level. And it's something, that we are really much looking forward to.
Yeah. What's exciting for me in doing this podcast is finding these hidden gems in Delco, things in the Delaware County area that we may not know about. You can drive down campus and not recognize what that building is because you've driven it a few times and go from one to the other. And then you find out, wow, look at what we have here in Delco that's offering students, that's educating the public, that's open to the public, that creates careers and lifestyles and ways to feed families and start out someplace that you just didn't know you wanted to go. And It's certainly an adventure. Joey, you look like you were about to say something before I interrupted. So what was it that you might want to say?
No, I was just going to say, I mean, like Johnny, just to piggyback off Johnny, I mean, the accreditation is going to be very big for the school. So I do expect to see a lot of, a little bit more student body in the school. And I think that when that happens, that we're going to try to focus on doing a lot of fun events, a lot of fun things throughout the summer.
Give back to the community.
Give back to the community. We talked before about getting like food trucks out here monthly and stuff like that. So we want to get all that started again, car shows, all sorts of stuff. So we're going to be doing a lot of events for the school that really might not have something to do with hair. So I would say just look out for that as well.
All right, I'm going to just do nothing but wait for all that stuff to happen. So July, better hurry up, and we need to get you that accreditation, right?
Sir.
That's it.
Gentlemen, thank you for your time today. And we appreciate you being a friend of what's happening, Delco. We can't wait to see all the great things, the accreditation, the food trucks, the music, the samba dancing, all the things. I'm thinking maybe a tattoo artist there or two.
Yeah,
that'll be fun.
Absolutely. That would be great.
All right, guys, have an awesome day. And we look forward to talking to you soon.
Rich, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Pleasure.